How should you react to a dog's aggression? To answer this question, we first need to ask ourselves another. When does aggression develop in nature? Some might say, when an animal attacks its prey. But actually, that's predation, not true aggression. When a dog or any animal decides to attack us, it is always defending itself, and this is a principle we need to be clear about. In nature, aggression always develops when there is no possibility of escape. What does this mean? Have you ever heard the phrase, "Be careful around a bear with cubs"? Why does it become aggressive? Because the instinct to preserve the species doesn't allow it to run away, that is, to abandon its cubs, and so its aggressiveness increases. And nature will never force any animal to attack, because any fight, even if the animal comes out on top, is still extremely dangerous for the animal's own life. Because even a small cut, a minor wound, could potentially cause sepsis, it could still very easily kill the animal in the days that would follow. So first, we really need to understand one important thing. Every single time dogs attack us, they feel absolutely forced to do it. Giving a definitive answer or a singular solution to a possible dog attack scenario, in this particular case, is extremely and profoundly wrong. There isn't a straightforward answer A to a complex problem B. What exactly do I mean by that statement? There isn't a manual to follow to defend yourself from a dog, just like there isn't a manual to follow to defend yourself from an attacker. The question you all ask us most often is, what should I do if a dog attacks me? But this opens up a whole range of other questions. Why are you being attacked? What kind of dog is attacking you? How big is it? What breed is it? What kind of bite does it have? And that's where we get lost. It's impossible to have an instruction manual. What we can say, however, is that there are two types of bites, the sport bite, which we'll look at shortly, and the real bite. The actual and genuine bite, which in this particular case we will refer to as a bite within an urban context or setting, is developed in a completely different and distinct manner from a sport bite. You should always take this as a clear example. A skilled boxer who fights in the professional ring and faces a carefully prepared match with established rules will certainly behave in a particular way. Break time equals 0.5s/. A fight on the street for self-defense, on the other hand, has no rules. So, when a dog attacks us, there are no rules. What we're trying to do in this video is to explain how not to end up in situations that are hard to get out of. If you do find yourself in these situations, I can give some general advice on how to get out of trouble, but it's neither the Bible nor the gospel. Let that be clear. Off camera is my dog, Narcos, who will soon come in to bite this sleeve. I want to make this clear. What I'm about to show you is a sport bite, not a real bite, but while the dog is biting me, I'll explain it to you. The dog doesn't want to attack me, of course not, he's my dog. He's biting what we call a fetish in training, in canine language. His goal is to get me to release this tool and to win it, okay? So let's take a look. I'm going to stimulate him with this tool that makes a noise. Great. Okay. As you can see, the type of bite is extremely powerful, very strong, but you can see that the dog stays. Look. He remains vulnerable to my attacks. In nature, this would never develop. Watch. And the bite is very strong, look. Look when he wins. Good boy. Yes. There he is. Yes, come here, Narcos. Come down. He's having a lot of fun. Look at his tail. Who won the sleeve? Who is down? Okay, sorry for being out of breath. I'm not as young as I used to be. This kind of bite isn't a real bite. It's a sport bite my dog is playing. Look-o, I've got the sleeve. Okay, keep the sleeve. Wait, let's give him a bit of control. Down! Down! Here, this is yours. No one will take it from you. His goal is to keep the sleeve, but as we've seen, this kind of bite is called a grip bite. Let's go, Narcos, let's go. Take the sleeve, take it away, go. Narcos had a great time doing this work. He was playing with me, he was developing real aggression, but he was playing. If you think about two dogs that are friends, how do they play fight? They use simulated aggression. That's what he was doing. Then you saw, the bite was extremely strong, so much so that the centrifugal force wasn't enough to make him let go. But the intention with which the dog comes to bite the sleeve is very different from the intention with which the dog would come to bite you if you were a problem. In that case, the dog is not having fun. There, the dog is experiencing discomfort. He wants to get rid of you. He wants you to leave. So, the answer to the extremely common question you asked me, Matteo, what should I do if a dog attacks me? There isn't a single solution, but there are things you can do. First, in about 90% of cases, the dog will tend to bite the outer parts of the body, so legs and arms, because the center of the body is a problem for the dog. In fact, you'll hear of very few people who have been bitten on the stomach or, as the legend goes, on the throat. People get bitten on the legs, feet, knees, hands, and arms because those are the outer parts. It's easier for the dog to attack those than to go for the center. After a dog has bitten me in an urban situation, let's call it, there's not much you can do except try to save your life. So the first thing to do is to stay on your feet. Never fall down. Falling down means exposing your whole body to the dog, and with a dog as heavy as Narcos, you saw that even when he was just playing and got on top of me, it was hard for me to get out of it. Just imagine how much harder it would be to get out of that situation if the dog was actually being aggressive. And the question I keep getting asked is, okay, but what if it happens to me? Okay, if it happens to you, you're particularly unlucky. I'm not going to sell you a magic pill, but I can give you some advice. First, the dog won't bite the way you saw Narcos bite, but will try to give a very strong bite, then pull back and go in again, pull back and go in again. It will never stay latched on. The moment the dog pulls back, that's my chance to attack and turn and retreat, attack and retreat. Every time the dog comes forward, I attack. I can use my legs, or if it's better, I can use an object. You might not have one, but if I have a backpack, a bag, anything, I can put it between me and the dog, striking and retreating, striking and retreating. When I carefully and slowly move myself out of the dog's immediate trigger zone, you will clearly observe that the dog will tend to let me go very easily and without any resistance. Obviously, we're talking about a situation related to territoriality, because what happens most often is that people go for walks and typically encounter Marimano sheepdogs or other shepherd dogs doing their job. So, their goal is for you to leave. The response might be, so I turn around and run away. Well, that's the wrong thing to do with any animal, as we know, because by running away you trigger another instinct, which is the predatory drive. So the way to leave should be while looking at the dog. If it comes forward, I strike and move back in a safe and calm way. I always keep an eye on the dog until I'm out of the trigger zone. The dog comes, I strike, I move back. Until the dog understands that my goal is to leave. I am fully aware that what I just said is extremely difficult to put into practice in real life, but we had to try to give an answer to the countless questions we receive. Knowing a dog can help us avoid finding ourselves in these situations, and this can't be explained in a single video. But understanding how aggression develops, recognizing the signals the dog is giving us, and learning what calming signals are, which we'll talk about in another video, will help us avoid ending up in a situation that we then have to get out of in an extreme way. So, I also want to say this, and I really want to stress it, you should never attack dogs. It's the worst thing you can do. We're not promoting human aggression towards dogs, absolutely not. I'm talking about an extreme situation where it's either our life or theirs. And it's not a situation that happens very often, you know. We need to be honest about this too, so it's not like we go around and dogs are constantly attacking us to death. What I wanted to explain is that a dog's aggression always starts from some kind of discomfort. So if I can show the dog through my movements that I want to leave, but also that I'm not someone to attack, it's very likely the dog will stop. Humans kill for the sake of killing. Dogs, I assure you after 20 years working as a behaviorist, simply don't have this kind of deviation.